Hey everyone, my name's Chelsea of Lunar Rasa Yoga, and today is the first day of the Lunar Yoga Lunch Break. Every Thursday at 1 p.m. I'll be here if you want to join live. We'll have a short practice, about 20 or 30 minutes of moon-inspired yoga, breath, and some lunar insights. And during this time, I invite you to make this your own practice, as always. I'll be guiding you through a short sequence that's inspired by where we are in the lunar cycle. Lunar yoga is the style of yoga that I developed to help us to be more in sync with our own inner and outer rhythms. And tonight, we enter the new moon in Scorpio. And the new moon phase is introspective. It's when the moon's light is not reflected back to Earth. It is a time for us to go inward. And so our physical practice will also be mostly internal during this phase. Not a lot of different poses, not a lot of movement. Instead, we're invited to come into stillness. For our practice today, if you have a few things that you can gather to use as props, they don't need to be yoga props specifically, but something that you can use like a yoga block, something firm, even a flat top water bottle can be handy here, as well as a couple of blankets or pillows or cushions, whatever you have around your house or wherever you're practicing right now is great. And if you don't have extra props handy, that's okay too. All you need is just you, your proverbial mat or practice space. And we'll get started today in a mini Shavasana. Shavasana is corpse pose. Scorpio is the sign that rules death, as well as rebirth, the sacred cycle. It's like the phoenix that rises from the flames. So we'll begin there in this very scorpionic pose. And if you do have props handy, I really like a bolster just at the back of the knees. It can help to support your low back. And then just find a comfortable reclined position. Your arms rest wherever feels natural. And soften your eyes or let them close down if that feels comfortable for you in your space today. And Scorpio is a fixed water sign. You might embody that water element in your breath. Imagining your breath as waves. Each inhale like the rising tide. And each exhale, the ebb of the waves as they recede back into the sea. And for these first couple of moments, just follow the rise and fall of your breath. Let your awareness ride these waves, the ebb and the flow of your inner tide. And the new moon is the emptiest phase in the lunar cycle. And it's the pause at the bottom of your exhale. At the bottom of each breath out. And pause for a beat. And allow yourself to really feel that sacred pause within your breath cycle and within your body. And allow your breath to create a gentle buffer around this present moment. Letting whatever came before now Whatever the rest of your day might hold, just fade into the background. We'll find a few clearing breaths here together. Find an intentional breath in. And draw the air way down into your low lungs. Make your low belly round and expand like a balloon. And fill your breath into the sides of your rib cage, all the way into your upper heart, upper chest. And through parted lips, audible breath out. And twice more in this way. Full-bodied breath in. And tune into the sensations of your breath, the felt experience of the inhale. You might notice the fanning open and expansion of your rib cage, the rise of your chest, as your collarbones widening, your shoulders drawing a little closer down toward the ground. An open mouth breath out. Notice what shifts. Gentle contraction of your belly, perhaps a sense of letting go, more of arriving, settling in. One more breath here together. Maybe your longest, deepest breath of your day so far. And an even longer breath out. Need some gentle movement. Rock your chin from left to right. Release your neck. Lift your arms overhead as you inhale. Stretch your toes along in the opposite direction. Like a good morning stretch. As you exhale, draw both knees into your chest. And a little rock side to side. Trace a few circles around in each direction. Stirring, swirling into the emotional center of the body, just below the belly button, and to your low back. And gaze can stay soft or eyes closed. And keep your energy held in close to you. And the new moon is a time of internal exploration. And the moon rules our inner landscape, emotions, feelings, sensations, as well as our intuition. And release your arms open wide like a T. And send both knees over to your left side, supine twist. And if you have props available, you can use them to fill any space between your knees or underneath your bottom knee. And if you have a blanket, I also really like to fold a blanket just over the top of my knees to offer a little bit of grounding weight so that your arms can relax. And drop your chin toward your right shoulder. And find a full breath here to settle into this posture, this moment. And during the new moon, particularly this new moon in Scorpio, which is the archetype of death, rebirth, the taboo and occult, our personal power, sexuality, and transformation, ruled by the planet Pluto, This new moon in Scorpio brings us into our shadows, in the veil between the conscious and subconscious is thin at this time. I invite you for these next 15 or so minutes to welcome the connection between your conscious and subconscious mind, to tune in to your intuition, the innate knowing, the things you know without having to think or without knowing how you know them. Like an explorer and journeying deep into your inner landscape. I'm curious about what you may find. And cultivating a willingness to look even into the places that we may otherwise prefer not to, the shadow aspects of ourselves. We know that we all have shadows. This is a human experience. And when we are willing to look into those tender or difficult places within ourselves, we are able to initiate the process of transformation. To bring that which is then in the shadows forward into the light. Scorpio teaches us that our deepest power often resides in that transformation of what has been shadowed. In a moment, you'll hear the sound of a chime. That's our signal for transition in this practice. When you hear the chime, find one of your deepest, fullest breaths. And a long, slow exhale, letting your body know that we're about to move again. When your next inhale breath arrives, lift your chin back toward the ceiling. And one at a time, lift your right knee and then left knee. Rearrange any props to the right side of your mat. And supine twist in the opposite direction, knees to the right, gaze to the left. And allow space for the possibility that this side might look different from the first side. Can you be willing to meet your body right where it is right now, this exact moment? And perhaps what felt best on the first side is a little bit different from what your body needs here. Lunar Yoga is a practice based on sensation and intuitive alignment. We're far less interested in how the poses look, much more interested in how they feel. And only you will know that. You are the expert of your own sensations, of what you feel in your body. And if there's a micro adjustment that would help to support your bones and allow your muscles to relax, do that. And stay curious about the sensations in your body. And notice if there are places that feel like a lot of effort. And imagine sending a soothing exhale into those places. Letting your breath be an invitation to your muscles to soften and let go. Relax the muscles in your forehead. Smooth out the space between your eyebrows. And let your eyes rest heavy in their sockets. Noticing the subtle shift in sensation as you make those adjustments. Relax your temples and cheeks. And so much that your left cheek drops, giving into the gentle tug of gravity. And separate your back teeth to relax your jaw. And let your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. And when we intentionally relax our bigger muscle groups in the body, it's common for the tension that we've stored in the body to get sneaky and hide in new places. Our eyes, our jaw, the skin across your chest, perhaps your throat or your palms. Invite a softening anywhere that you need it. One more full intentional breath here. Moving slowly, mindfully. Lift your chin back to center. Left knee and right knee. And set your feet down onto your yoga mat or the ground. And press through your heels just enough to tuck your tailbone under. And let your low back come down onto the ground. You rest your knees together, heel toe your feet wide to the outside edges of your mat. Reverse butterfly legs. I'll pause here for just a moment, allowing your body to fully receive and integrate all of the input and sensory stimuli of the last posture before we add in something new. If you have two props that are about the same size or can be made about the same size, bring one to your right side, one to your left, right about hip height. Heel toe your feet together. And let your knees fall out wide. Butterfly pose. And wherever your knees pause in that first place of resistance, and stay there and slide your props to the outside of both thighs to fill that space. And slide your heels a little bit farther away from your hips, letting your legs come into an elongated diamond shape. And bring one hand over your low belly, one hand over the center of your chest. And feel your breath rise into your palms. And like a wave, your inhale rises from your low belly and crests into your upper chest, the space just beneath your collarbones. And the exhale, like a wave receding back into the sea. And chest lowers. Let your breath pool into your low belly. And you give yourself permission to feel deeply during this practice. And to feel the sensations of your physical body. And the compression where your body meets the ground. And the sensory input. And the sound of my voice. Any other sounds in your space. Perhaps the sound of your own breath. And the texture of your clothing beneath your palms. Perhaps skin to skin contact between your feet. Relax your glutes and hip flexors. Notice that change in sensation. Perhaps a shift from a tightness or a holding on to a sensation of less intensity. Notice the temperature and texture of the air on your skin, and the breath that travels in through your nose and makes its way into the back of your throat and down into your lungs. And when we slow down and remove the extra visual stimuli, and the busyness of the external environment, and the lights and colors from screens or extra sounds, all of the distractions that we've adapted to being normal in most of our waking hours. And we're able to tune in to the more subtle sensations, the things that are always there, just beneath the surface. Perhaps you can go even deeper into the feelings beneath the physical sensations. What emotions are present? You might observe the resistance. Maybe your breath catches short. You feel a tightness arise in your body. Perhaps the resistance is in your mental or emotional space. Nothing to make wrong. It's very natural, very human. And can we make space for the resistance too? Just let it be here. To notice and feeling resistance without the need to try to fix it or change it. Resistance to feeling our emotions is also a feeling. And perhaps you're not detecting much at all. That's okay too. Numbness is also a feeling. And you allow yourself to just be present with what is. Whatever feelings, sensations, or thoughts may arise. Your inner landscape is deep, vast, spacious. There is room for all of you to exist. Breathe in. Breathe out. Your hands, one at the back of each knee. Draw your legs together like closing a book. And bring your feet out wide, wider than your hips. And give your low back a moment to recalibrate. And again, inviting the shifts and transformation, the sensory inputs, all of the layers of that last posture to reorganize from a deep cellular level to integrate into your system. And giving ourselves this moment of sacred pause between one activity and the next. And also creates a time and space for our system to integrate one thing before piling in new input. It allows us to process and digest all that we receive. And as you're ready, bring your knees back in toward your chest. And rest your hands to the top of your shins. And allow your knees to melt outward, big toes stay together. Upward facing child's pose, Balasana. You might let your elbows rest onto the ground or slide props underneath them to bring the ground to you. Let your hands just serve as supports, as anchors for your knees. You don't need to pull or force your body into any particular shape. And if stillness feels good for you at this time, stay here. And if your body is asking for movement, you might begin to circle your knees in opposite directions like egg beaters. And feeling into the range of motion in your hips. And change into the opposite direction. And take a few circles that way. And as you're ready, we'll come back to final Shavasana, returning to corpse pose. And again, you might bring a cushion or a bolster to the back of your knees. And also really like a blanket folded over your low belly and hips for a little bit of grounding weight and warmth. And the physical body, Scorpio, rules our full reproductive system, all of our sex organs, as well as the blood, our bladder and bowels, and the nose. As you settle in to your final Shavasana, soften again all of the muscles in your face. Let your eyes fall heavy into their sockets. Separate your back teeth. And let your tongue melt down and back toward its root. Your bones drop heavy, feeling the support of the ground, rising up to meet you exactly where you are, exactly as you are. And let your exhales feel like soothing balm, and that washes down and around, over and through your body. And softening all of your muscles, and leaving in its wake a soft stillness. As we journey inward during the new moon, we empty out all the extra mental clutter and distractions. So look at what is really true for you. To clear space for your full truth to come through. Even the parts of you that we may otherwise prefer not to look at. And the new moon becomes the shadow. This is a potent time for vision work. It sets us up to set new intentions for this lunar month. I invite you to let those intentions come through in their own time, their own way. Not to think too hard about it. Instead, feel into your body. Feel your emotions. And Scorpio tends to churn up our or deeper, sometimes more intense emotions. Give yourself a little extra tenderness during this time. And times just like this practice to be soft and still, to be in solitude, to be with yourself. Let yourself just be, and listen, and wait, and listen deeper. Your intuition to reveal your subtle whispers, sensations, and that which is ready to be transformed. And create your intentions from that place of deep feeling and intuitive awareness. Well, if you have the time and desire, remain here for as long as you're able, for as long as you wish. If you're ready to be guided back, gently guide your awareness back to your breath. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. And like the ripple when a stone is dropped into a still, deep lake. And let your breath begin to echo out, bringing movement into your shoulders, into your neck, and down your arms to wrists and fingers, and into your low belly, and swirling down and around to your hips, pelvic floor, legs, ankles and toes. Awaken, reinvigorate your body with a full-bodied stretch. Arms overhead, toes point long. Breathe in. Let your breath fill your entire shape. And the resonance of your breath reaching all the way from fingertips to toe tips. And exhale, knees to chest. And gently roll onto your left side. Supported fetal posture. And resting your head to the inside of your bicep. Left side is the lunar side. And acknowledging this transition from corpse pose into fetal posture, symbolic of the sacred cycle of life, death, and rebirth. In the same cycle that we see reflected in the phases of the moon, in the tides of the sea, in the rise and fall of our own breath. Each new moon, each inhale, a new opportunity to begin again. With as little effort as possible, press yourself up to a seat. And your gaze stays soft, or eyes closed. And take a moment to call all of your energy back to you. I call all parts of myself back to me now. And with your energy held in close, one hand over heart center, one hand over your low belly. We'll seal in our practice together with one intentional breath. Loka samasta sukhinom bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be peaceful and free, and may our thoughts, words, and actions in some way contribute to the happiness and freedom of all beings. A reminder that all that we cultivate here in our personal practice fills us up so that we may share it out to the world. Thank you all so much for joining me today. And if you enjoy this practice, give me a like, hit subscribe. I'll be here again next Thursday. Hope to see you then. Otherwise, bringing my hands together at heart center if that feels true for you in your practice. I bow in deep gratitude and acknowledgement of each of you, the practice of yoga and its ancient roots, the lineage of my teachers and of their teachers, the land that we occupy, and of Grandmother Moon, who guides us through all of our phases. Thank you. Have a wonderful new moon.